This is something I've always wondered. I wondered about, and what's so special about Instagram? What's so special about TikTok? What's so special about Twitter? Mostly, and what's so special about my site? They're really all that's making these sites work is basically just a web server with some kind of front end, and sometimes they're chat systems or whatever. But all they're doing is exploiting the basics of a relational database. They're just Twitter is really just that. That's all Twitter is. It's really just a chat interface. It's a it's a minimalistic. It's basically each person has their own blog, um, a minimalistic blog, tweets or whatever, and and when you do searches, you're doing a search on a relational database, and the relational database is just keeping each person in their own little um, blog. And when you when you do tweets with people or do tweets at people or whatever, then not only are it, you can have the tweets be private or public, but in any case, just with Facebook, you can do a complete search and find all the tweets, that people have ever done for 10 or 20 years. But underneath it all you're doing is exploiting the basics of what every relational database can do. You put your data in, you can do searches on it, and everybody discovers what's in the relational database. The thing to be careful about whenever you create such services is that that your message ID system doesn't use an incremental ID, that the incremental ID stays in the relational database, and the way you identify the stuff in the database is through um, a significant but terse random identifier. And you know there's probably no reason to like actually do collision detection, but something that's going to be reasonable, has a reasonable amount of randomness to it, to the point where the chance for any amount of collision is just practically nil, or just so small that it just couldn't happen. And anyhow, that's how you deal with that. And but the thing that I relinquished control of on my site, even though I could make it so that everybody could come in and create playlists, I do not collect information about people. If they attribute any amount of themselves, if I was to permit them to create playlists and they were permitted to put anything of any amount about themselves in the playlist, it's their own fault that they just revealed something about themselves in that playlist, because I don't ask for name, passwords, and I'm not giving them I'm not giving them an account. I'm not giving them a username. The only thing that they have is pretty much not much different than those sites where they put a notepad out, or like with tinyURL, they don't establish any kind of account or registration with you. You go in, you throw in your URL, and they just associate some address with it, and then you just own the address, but they can relinquish it at any time. It's their prerogative. And so, because of that, there's no policy needed to be in place about privacy or anything like that, because there was never anything in there. It was well known ahead of time that there was no capacity to have privacy, because you can't, everything's public. Okay, just as it is on my site, everything that you see is public. I don't. I can lock stuff away, but you can't lock stuff away. See, so if I gave you a playlist You could share it with other people, but I'm not going to moderate or manage that access. It's up to you. And the only thing you can really do, you can't really delete the playlist. What you can do is just put some videos in there. And if you don't like what's in there, then I mean, if you don't like, I can always just take the playlist out. But my site was really designed in the first place to allow lots of people to create playlists. And that's how I thought it was going to be used. And I gave people access, and they didn't really do much with it. And so I said, okay, well, I'll just own it myself. And so if you don't like the content, get your own Rock Me Amadeus or get your own Channel Z source code off the GitHub that's on my site. Go and make your own. That's the whole idea there is that don't ask me to interact with you and create the content. Make your own. Figure out some way to own it yourself. Because this was really just for me, and I'm opening it up so that I don't have people coming around that they're like, okay, can you like do this? Because I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to get involved. I would rather something exist than to be involved with trying to make it. But trying to without. I would rather somebody else get popular for it, but I'm going to do it in such a way that it's open source anyhow. And if you do make your own thing, you'll know that you can't patent it because there's already pre knowledge of it. So